I still keep that small, creased note tucked away in my drawer because it's the reason I'm alive today. Just 5 words scrawled in a shaky, hurried hand: fake being sick and go. At first, I thought my 15-year-old daughter Ava was just being dramatic. I had no clue she had stumbled onto something that would shatter every belief I held about the man I'd married. That day started out completely normal, like any other morning in our peaceful Chicago suburb. My husband Daniel was throwing a big brunch for some of his business associates, and I'd spent the better part of a week getting every little detail just right. While I was still in the kitchen finishing up the food, Ava pulled me aside into her bedroom without a word. Her skin looked drained of color, and her eyes were wide with something close to terror. She pressed a folded scrap of paper into my palm and pleaded with me to just trust her. No questions, not yet. Before she could get another word out, Daniel showed up in the doorway, wearing his usual easy smile, except this time there was something underneath it that felt off, almost cold. Trusting my daughter's panicked request, I told Daniel I was suddenly hit with a migraine and needed to run to the pharmacy. He wasn't thrilled about it, but let me go, and Ava jumped in the car with me, insisting she come along. The second we turned out of the driveway, she completely fell apart in tears. She told me that the night before, she'd overheard Daniel on a phone call. He'd spoken about it so casually, how I'd drink my usual cup of tea at the brunch, then collapse, poisoned, and everyone would just assume it was my heart giving out. He'd even chuckled while bringing up the $1 million life insurance policy he'd talked me into signing only a few months back. That wasn't all. Ava admitted she'd snuck into his office after catching that call, and what she found there was worse. Paperwork showing his company was drowning in debt and that he'd been quietly draining money from my accounts for months. In the span of one car ride, everything I thought I knew about my own life came crashing down. The man I thought loved me had really only wanted access to my money. Just running wasn't going to cut it either. Daniel would twist it around and tell everyone I'd had some kind of breakdown. What we actually needed was evidence, real proof, something undeniable. So, against every screaming instinct telling us to keep running, we turned around and went back home, pretending like nothing had happened. I kept Daniel and his guests occupied while Ava slipped off to search through his office again. She managed to snap photos of a small hidden bottle tucked in a drawer, along with a handwritten timeline laying out exactly when the poison would be given to me and how long it would take before anyone got suspicious. But just as she was about to get out, Daniel caught on that something wasn't right. He locked the two of us inside a bedroom upstairs. Knowing he was onto us, we tied a bunch of blankets together, climbed down out of the second-floor window, and bolted into the woods behind our neighborhood, with Daniel chasing after us, furious. We finally made it to a busy shopping mall, where I managed to reach my old friend from college, Olivia, who'd since become a well-known criminal defense lawyer. Before she could get there, though, police showed up. Daniel had already called them, claiming I was unstable and had taken off with our daughter against her will. He was already spinning his version of events to cover himself. Luckily, Olivia showed up and took charge right away, telling us not to say a single word until everything was handled properly through legal channels. She wasted no time getting investigators to secure a search warrant before Daniel had any chance to get rid of the evidence. Down at the police station, Daniel kept up the act, playing the devoted, worried husband. He insisted I was dealing with some kind of delusion and that the bottle from his office was nothing more than regular medicine. For a moment, I genuinely panicked, terrified everyone would take his word over mine. Then the investigators came back from the house with results that changed everything. The substance in that bottle tested positive as a lethal poison, and on top of that, they found something even chilling. Daniel had planted his own blood in Ava's bedroom, setting things up to make it look like I was the violent one, framing me as a dangerous mother. The financial records told the rest of the story. He'd been quietly moving my inheritance into accounts I knew nothing about, all while waiting to cash in on my life insurance once I was gone. That's when the mask completely fell off. Daniel lost it, shouting that he'd never actually loved me, that I'd only ever been a paycheck to him. Officers had to physically hold him back before he lunged at us. He was taken into custody and charged with attempted murder, fraud, and tampering with evidence. But it didn't stop there. As investigators dug deeper, they uncovered something even more disturbing. Years before, another woman with money had died not long after marrying him, under circumstances that had always seemed a little too convenient. When they reopened the case and ran new forensic tests, it confirmed she'd been poisoned too. Daniel was eventually convicted and given a life sentence with no chance of ever walking free again. The months after that were a blur of therapy sessions, court dates, and slowly trying to piece together a life that had almost been taken from us. Ava and I ended up moving into a smaller place, somewhere quieter, and little by little, the fear that had followed us started to fade, replaced by something closer to peace. Watching my daughter grow braver and stronger through all of it taught me that courage really has nothing to do with age. She trusted her gut when I couldn't see what was right in front of me, and that instinct of hers is the reason I'm still here. Even now, whenever I unfold that little note, I'm reminded that real heroes don't always look the way we expect. Sometimes they're scared teenagers who decide not to stay quiet, even when speaking up feels impossible. That one small, brave choice gave the two of us a second chance at life, and it taught me something I'll never forget. Really listening to the people who love us most can be the one thing